What does the future of NXT look like with an impending brand split? So much speculation that WWE will call up most of the NXT roster to either Raw or SmackDown. But where does that leave NXT? NXT has been a proud tradition for WWE fans for the last couple of years for quality matchups, for quality storylines, and for quality wrestling television. But with so many superstars being called up in recent years, what happens to the show if guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, and more get called up? With WWE and NXT possibly removing the Brooklyn Takeover event, which I know some people have said, including Chris Denker, that he's more excited for NXT Brooklyn than he is for SummerSlam. But can you still be super excited about NXT Brooklyn or the event if most of the superstars that have made NXT what it is today are gone? Truly think about this. In the past couple years, NXT has been phenomenal. Now, if you go back to the days of Bo Dallas and Neville in a ladder match for the very first time ever, which was a huge surprising, the Don't Go Bo days or the Go Bo days where they're cheering him to leave. If you look at the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens rivalries, the Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, and then ultimately Bayley overcoming Sasha Banks, those were natural, homegrown storylines that every person could get behind. They were storylines that everybody could understand. They were storylines that had video packages that sold the story so well, you looked at them and went, what is WWE doing wrong on the main roster? Why can WWE not do what NXT is doing? A lot of matches on WWE pay-per-views are kind of thrown together or hobbled together, and then you have NXT. This small group ran by Triple H who gives wrestlers the creative freedom to go out there and do what they do best. It's become an experimental playground, but it has also become a real viable business option for the WWE. NXT is now touring. Now, when they first announced NXT would tour and go on the road, some people thought, well, it's not going to be as special. Yes, it's going to be awesome, but what made NXT special was the fact that it was limited. Then they started touring, and now they keep adding city after city, and they're selling out the venues they play in. I was there live in San Jose last year for WrestleMania when they filled it up. I was in that building, and it was an absolutely amazing sight. It truly was a spectacular to witness in person. Last year, held no candle to this year. When I was there in person, I felt it. I was so excited to be there. This year, I got to go to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania I really enjoyed, but it was not NXT. I wish I could have been there for the NXT show. I really do. NXT is something to see in person, but a lot of that has to do with the superstars that are in there, and with so many of them now being gone, how can you sustain that? In an era when we all want Finn Balor, and I know I say it differently every time, Finn Balor, how do you say Finn Balor? Do you say Finn Balor? Finn Balor? How do you say it? Is it the Balor Club? Is it the Baylor Club? How do you say it, honestly? Because a lot of people have different pronunciations of it. So many people want Finn up. So many people want Bayley up. But who is going to fill the place of those superstars if they get called up? Now, WWE is a business, and WWE is in it to make money. WWE is not a not-for-profit. WWE does not exist to basically just serve entertainment. They exist to make a profit. And if NXT is profitable, like some people are speculating that, you know what, this is the end of NXT, they're going to call them up to SmackDown, they're no longer developmental, they're the big deal. But then what happens to those superstars that are working their way up? The guys that we see in NXT now, the people that went back and revitalized their careers, Cesaro, etc., that went back to NXT and made some of the best matches that we've seen in recent memory. Cesaro versus Sami Zayn, 2 out of 3 falls, and their rivalry in general down in NXT was phenomenal. Zack Ryder on the main roster went back down with Mojo Rawley and created the Hype Bros. And eventually, Zack Ryder got his WrestleMania moment. And it's true, he's been jobbing out ever since, but he finally got that WrestleMania moment he never had. In a day and age where there's so many superstars, there's so many people vying for these limited spots, although now with a brand split, there's more spots available. You have 5 hours of programming you need to fill now. And with these distinct and unique rosters they're going to have, there are endless possibilities. But where do you go from here? If you call up everybody from NXT and you just end the show, where do the people go to train? Where do the people go to get that exposure for the universe to eventually see them? What happens? Where do the people that come from TNA go? Do they go right to the main roster? So I don't think NXT will end, and nor do I want NXT to end. But NXT needs to fill the holes and the gaps that it's created by these superstars that have been in the promotion, now being on the main roster, getting all the exposure in the world. We see superstars that are down at NXT, and we wonder, why haven't they been called up yet? You know, a lot of people were very optimistic when Apollo Crews got called up. Why did Crews get called up before Finn did? But Finn is essentially the top face down in NXT. You have guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, who in the ring right now has said, oh man, I don't like teaming with Finn because his entrance takes too long. Finn and getting called up to the main roster in WWE presents a challenge. What are you going to do? Because that entrance can't always happen. You're not always going to have Finn coming out to that demon entrance and taking forever. It's going to be a unique, special thing. So the things that make NXT special, because it's given extra time, it's given the place to shine and fill. What happens now? You've seen some people get called up from NXT, such as Sasha Banks, and you look at it and you worry for them. But here's the thing. If those people were thrown on TV, or those superstars are thrown on TV like Sasha, but they didn't have a program or they didn't have any feud to grasp onto, why are they on TV? We commonly get mad when there's filler on TV, especially last night, because last night's Raw, or maybe 2 nights ago's Raw, whenever you're seeing this video, was filled with so much crap and filler versus the week before, which just lacked a little bit more excitement. But most of the matches had a point. They were qualifying matches. Everything on the show made sense. Why in the world would you have Sasha Banks on TV if you don't have something for them? You know, we're quick to judge, but I look at the example Damian Sandow said. Yes, I was not being give program. I was constantly pitching stuff, but I understood the fact that I was over, and TV is meant to help put over people. If Sasha Banks is in the same position as Sandow, she gets those big cheers, just like Sandow is. Wouldn't you rather spend that TV time on putting somebody else, trying to get them over, and then when you need to, you take out Sasha Banks? Now, I still think Sasha Banks is going to be led into a big program with Charlotte coming into SummerSlam, and that fills that gap. But where does Bayley fit? Does Bayley stay down in NXT? Right now, we have Nia Jax versus Asuka, and I know some people are going to really criticize me for that pronunciation. Asuka. It is Asuka. I just like to see what people say. You have Asuka versus Nia Jax, which, where's Bayley? It's a storyline injury, and Bayley's just selling it, and I dig that. They're prolonging it, because here's the thing. There's still money to be made for NXT, but when you call up most of the superstars, you're a little nervous. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano broke up as a tag team. They started as a tag team. They eventually broke up, and then last week, they tag teamed against TMT 61, and their new finisher was awesome. The running knee and the running kick, I thought was phenomenal. And it really goes to show that it's a place to workshop the ideas and see what works and what doesn't work. So I don't think NXT is ever going to go away, nor should it. Maybe it eventually comes to TV instead of the network. I don't know. If NXT is as popular as it is and you have the WWE network, wouldn't you want to get it on big TV? I've heard rumors of WWE and people say, why not have it NXT present SmackDown or SmackDown presents NXT? I don't see this necessarily happening because the WWE network and then NXT in general is a huge selling point for it. The specials have been great. The matches, the memories have been there. But with so many called up, where do they go from here? Do they keep signing people to make it a spot for huge pops and debuts? Or do they keep workshopping these people that they've signed? Now, with the lack of star power down in NXT, and with them touring, you're going to need to rely on having other superstars come down to NXT, or else fill the void. If I look at the current NXT roster, there are a lot of talent that will become, hopefully one day, a huge deal. Austin Aries, Eric Young, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, Asuka, Bayley, Finn, The Revival. I like Ty Dillinger. Elias Sampson's doing well. There's so many to name. And with more getting called up, they're going to get more and more exposure. But with those huge names, if they all just get called up in a draft, if Nakamura, Roode, Young, they're all gone, and say SmackDown becomes SmackDown Presents TNA with all the former TNA superstars, then who down at NXT do they fight with? Who do they feud with? Where do they go? If NXT is the brand that it is become, and they're constantly touring and selling out shows, you need to keep around the names that help sell it. So I don't necessarily see Finn getting called up just yet, and I don't see Bayley getting called up. Until these superstars have a depleted roster from NXT, you need to have the people that fill their slot. You need to have people that step in. And there's a lot of people that eventually can. If you don't know who Aaliyah is, if you've never seen some of the videos that have come out recently from NXT events, oh my God, from the top rope stunner. Oh, it's so beautiful. Aaliyah, huge name. I can't wait for Aaliyah to be there. And there's a lot of other people down in NXT that once the current crop of NXT talent are gone, the current crop of TNA talent are gone. If you look at guys like Samoa Joe, who I've waited to talk about, you really do have something special. Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, AJ Styles. Oh man, SmackDown and Raw are headed for a beautiful landscape. We've had so many of the same matches over the past couple years, even though they're awesome, the Zayans, the Owens, the Orton, Cenas. There's so many fresh matchups that WWE has now. When these superstars get called up, hopefully there's a reason for them to call up. Hopefully there's a place for them and it's not just calling up to deplete NXT. Because NXT is something special. So if this is the end of NXT, which I don't think it is, it has been one hell of a ride and has been something spectacular to witness. For those talents that are down in NXT now, this is your time to shine. When these guys get called up, these men and women, take it by the horns, take it by the reins, no pun intended for Roman, and kill your opportunity and become that superstar. Now, what happens after the brand split? How do you get called up? Where do you end up? Those are questions for the future. But for right now, if NXT were ever to end, at least we have the memories. Until next time, it's your boy Tubby Emu.